All right, good evening, my pre-AP Algebra 2 kiddos. Um, we are going to do a real quick. Today's is going to be real easy, man. I'm not throwing too much at you guys. I wanted to do something kind of test prep E for those of you who do have SATs coming at you this week. And this is in light of some of you saying that you aren't all that familiar with graphing calculators. So I thought I would throw together some. This is quick, down and dirty. How does everything work? What are the things that you're actually going to use? Um, so this is it. Um, so how do we do it? Well, um, go first thing is you're going to be getting all of this from the hub. Okay, so this website will be linked on the hub, and in a second I'm going to upload a ROM, and that's all going to be everything you need is on the hub. So you should have found the link to this video on the hub. All right, so I want you to just keep that in mind. Everything you have is everything you need. You have via the hub. Okay, so once you come to, I don't, Semitech, I have no idea what you would call this website, but it is a website that runs a emulator of a TI84. Okay, it's just like Wabbit. It's basically a Wabbit emulator that they embedded online, and so it allows us to run TI84 emulators here on the internet. Okay, so how does it work? Well, when you first load it up, this is going to be the page that you come to. All right, and you're going to see this terms of service, this red banner that I'm highlighting right here. Okay. You'll see agree, I do not agree, you need to hit agree. Once you hit agree, it's going to say to import a calculator or ROM image. You should have downloaded the ROM from the hub. Okay, you need to actually download it. All right. Once you have downloaded it, you're going to go to choose file. Okay, and you're going to pull up some menu that looks like this. On the left hand side, you're going to look for your downloads tab. Okay, you're going to click on, it'll probably open on like a quick access. I think most Windows 10 opens on quick access. It might be there. If it's not, scroll down until you see downloads, and wherever you see downloads, click on that, and you should see the ROM. All right, this one is called TI84 PCSE, which is the one that most closely emulates the one that we have at school. So double click on that, and it loads it, and at this point it's ready to go, and it now functions exactly like a calculator at school. So let me zoom in. Oops, wrong button. Let me zoom in here just a little bit so you guys can see everything. That's pretty good. So literally all these buttons are exactly like what we have at school. And this doesn't even function until I turn it on. So you'll see it comes on. Here is my home screen. My battery life's even showing, even though there's no battery here to deal with. It's pretty great. It's awesome. The only thing that's weird about it is obviously the screen is not proportional, to the calculator, but that's okay. I digress. So, what can we do with these calculators? Well, the better question is what can't we do? Obviously, it has all of your basic functionality. So, I can do my 1 plus 2s and hit enter and I get an answer, right? I can do my 5 times 8 and hit enter and, whatever, right? It can do its basic calculations. You have parentheses if you need to break stuff up. I strongly recommend you use parentheses a lot to isolate operations. If you need to do like 2 plus 5 squared, well, in this situation, it's just going to square the 5, right? You need to make sure that you put in like that, right? Oh, I squared it. My bad. Anyways, you get the idea. Parentheses are your friend. They protect operation order. So I highly recommend that you overuse parentheses. They are helpful. The other operations that are helpful on here, you saw me use the square. Okay, that's squaring a value. You also have inverse. Okay, that's the inverse of something. So if I take 2 to the power of -1, it's going to give me 0.5. I'll show you how to deal with that 0.5 thing here in a second. You can go to math and hit fraction, answer to a fraction, and it turns into a fraction for you. Isn't that nice? If you need it as a fraction. It's too bad we don't have more apps access. You technically actually can put certain apps on these. It's legal. It's allowed. But it's I don't know. It's a weird gray thing, and as a school, we do not upload any apps to our calculators. So yeah, programs. We don't upload any programs. So yeah, bummer. Let me see stuff that you guys are going to use most often. Under the math, there is like stuff, especially if you run into roots that are of value other than 2 or 3. You'll see here you have the xth root. Okay, if you click on 5 in this scenario, you'll see it gives you a cursor in the index and the radicand position, so I can create an index of 8 and 5, whatever. Right, if that's what you need, you can do that. Let me see. Sorry, I'm tired, guys. I just got back from driving from Alabama, so I am exhausted. You do have the ability to put variables in. That's what this button here is, right underneath link. Right, you'll see I can put in X. All right, I'm getting ahead of myself here though. But a lot of this stuff that's under the math, you're not really going to use. You guys don't have any need to know how to do this. There's some really powerful stuff in here, but it's not valid or necessary for you guys. Excuse me again. You'll see here I do have all of the come on, brain. Trig functions. So I can hit sine of 52, right? I can put that in parentheses. I think this is in radian mode, but that works. If you hit the mode button, I can check. Yeah, it's in radian mode. So it's something you're going to want to do. So here's a helpful tip. Whenever you get your calculator, right, you're going to see that it's memory. What is it? 712. It's going to look like this. Okay, you're just going to open up with RAM cleared. Okay. One of the first things you want to do is go to mode. Go down to, you'll see it's got all this stuff on here. A lot of it is not stuff you're going to mess with. Go down here to where it says radian and degree and click it over to degree. You guys are all accustomed, and you just hit clear. You guys are all accustomed to using degrees, so you're going to want to have it in degree mode, especially if you have to do anything regarding trig functions. Okay, these trig functions are what that's really referring to, as far as you guys are know. Let me see. What's other stuff you're going to use? Pi. So I want one thing to understand. All of these blue buttons on this calculator are activated by first hitting the second button and then hitting whatever button is below the blue writing, right? So if I want the square root, okay, which is this blue above the x squared here, I'm going to hit second, and I'm going to hit x squared, and now I have the square root, all right? I think I even is here somewhere. There's I equals I. So everything that is blue is accessed by hitting the second button. Likewise, everything that is green is accessed by hitting the alpha button. All right. And that pulls up a whole, you can type stuff, you can do a lot of crazy things. You're probably not going to use a lot of green, but it's there and it works. It can be helpful. Let me see what's good next. Let me see what you guys going to use a lot. You're not going to use storing very much. A trick, if you're doing a long sequence of problems, right? So let's say you have a problem that has a lot of steps in it, and you're also generating decimals, and this is a big deal. If you're generating decimals, and you're having to do a lot of work with it. So like, let's say I do have to take the square root of 21, right? I get this long decimal, okay? But this is involved in a lot of other operations. If you just start doing operations, like let's say, well, that gets multiplied by 5. You'll see I just hit the multiplied button, and you'll see it says answer multiplied by 5. Okay? I can now, like when I hit enter, it's going to, there it is. It took that previous answer, it takes your previous answer and it multiplies it by, or does whatever operation it is that you tell it to do. Okay? I can also say, let's say that the square root of 21 was dividing, I don't know, 9. All right, I can do 9 divided by, and if you'll see down here, the second of this negative button is answer. And I can take and plug an answer in anywhere and do that. Okay. Another thing to keep in mind, something that gets missed a lot, that right there is, well, it's obviously it says answer -3. This is minus, okay? If you need negative, negative is here. That's -3, okay? So just keep in mind, like if you do times -3, it gives you a syntax error, okay? So it would be, this case, I don't think I can do an answer times -3 now because it's already an error. Oh, no, I got it. So if you get an error, it skips over it and goes back to whatever the previous actual real answer was. So you'll see, like, when I hit the negative button, it worked. When I hit the minus button, it doesn't work, okay? So something to keep in mind. That's really it, honestly, for this page, the stuff that you guys are going to use all the time. Matrices are a second of the inverse here, so if you remember doing matrices, this is where all that stuff is. We use matrices to solve systems. Of 3 variable systems and stuff. It's very helpful. So if you remember that, that's there. There right there, I just hit second in mode, which is quit. So like you'll see it says quit. That'll get you out. If you get somewhere and you're like, I don't know where I am anymore, and you want to get back to the home screen, second mode gets you back to the kind of the main screen. You can start over. All right. All right, now for really what I think we all came here for, which is probably the most helpful tool that these provide for you, which is graphing, right? So up here at the top, you'll have this row of gray buttons, okay? This button has a y equals, all right? This y equals is your friend, all right? This y equals is your best friend, okay? You can click on that y equals button, and it pulls up this list, okay? This is a list of stored equations, okay? You'll see all these colors. This is the color that it's going to graph the equation in for you. If you don't get a color one, it's just a list of these, and it'll graph all of them. The only reason you're going to put more than one equation in here is because you're trying to solve a system, okay? But generally speaking, you're probably just going to throw one, maybe two, two in here, and you should be able to know the difference between which one, if you are working on a black and white one, which we do have some black and white ones. So the way that these work, okay, first you're going to notice it says y sub 1. Well, that just means it's the first equation, okay? So these sub numbers are like, this is equation number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, okay? So this is delineating which y's you're talking about. And it says y equals some number, or y equals something, okay? In order to put an equation into the graphing calculator, it has to be solved for y, okay? So you can't just throw whatever you want into the graphing and have it work, okay? It has to be solved for y. So something to keep in mind is you might have to move equations around to put them into the graphing calculator. And the SAT guys, I'm sorry about the yawning, but 10-hour drive will do that to you. The SAT guys know that you're going to want to just try to throw it into your calculator, and they want to make it difficult, okay? So they're gonna maybe not give it to you solved for y, or they're gonna ask questions that aren't necessarily helpful to graph. But even still, there's a lot of questions where it can be helpful to just throw it in the graphing calculator and let it do the heavy lifting for you. So let's just say we need to get the solutions for 2x Whoops, my bad. I was trying to type that because I'm not intelligent. So let's just say I need to get the equation for 2, and then I need x, right? I told you this is a variable. You see all these letters on here? That's your variable thing, okay? So 2x squared minus 8x plus 9. I don't know. I'm just being silly at this point. Okay, and now that I've entered this in, okay, if you go back to that same row of gray buttons on the far right, you're going to see a button that says graph. It does exactly what it says. It graphs whatever you have put in. Okay, you'll see a little spinny wheel up here. That is it processing, yada, 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 figuring out what's going on. And you'll see it's graphed my function for me. Now, there is a ton of stuff, okay? There is a ton of stuff that we can do here. Most of the things that you can do, there's a trace feature that you can use where you can follow along and try to identify key features using that. It can be helpful, but it's not accurate because it skips a lot, okay? What people tend to use the most to kind of cheat the system, so to speak, is the table or the calc menu, okay? So again, all these blue buttons, right? You have stat, plot, table set, format, calc, and table. Calc and table are what tends to be very helpful. So table, I'll go through that first. If I hit second and graph, that gets me that blue, right? Gets me the table, okay? This gives me literally just a table, okay? And I can arrow up and down this thing. I think you can, is there a way? I don't remember. I think there is a way you can get down to this to enter a number into here, but I don't remember how to do it right now. Oh, press plus for. There it is. Oh no, that changes the values. Never mind. Don't do that. Okay, I didn't do anything. There's a way you can get down here and punch in a specific value for x, which is a way you can solve for a value of x if you needed to. But anyways, you can see here, right? Like, for example, this one, apparently that's my vertex. Definitely appears to be my vertex, 2, 1. So like, you can identify that, right? Like you can find these in the table sometimes. So the table can be beneficial, okay? The table can be beneficial. If the table isn't telling you what you want, or it's too complicated or slow to read, the calc feature, the calc menu is what becomes really handy. So again, second, the trace button has the blue calc above it. So we go into the calc menu, and you'll see we have a bunch of helpful stuff here, okay? Calculate for a value. These are the ones that really help. Zeros, those are what they sound like. It's solutions. This is a way to find zeros of a quadratic, okay? 0, min, max, okay? So minimums and maximums are your vertexes or your relative minimums and maximums in a polynomial. Intersections, super helpful for systems, okay? You can use these calculators to solve for systems by using the intersect feature, okay? So go to calculate. In this case, I don't have a 0, so I'm going to do a minimum because I have a minimum on this, okay? And this is true for just about all of these, okay? These are really wimpy processors in these, so they can't handle searching the entire graph for whatever you're looking for. So it asks you to set boundaries in the domain, okay? So when it says left bound, right bound, it's asking you to say, like, between what values of x do you want me to look for this minimum, or whatever it is that you're asking it to look for. It's saying, where do you want me to look? Because I'm not going to look at everything. So when it says left bound, you're literally, it's like, you see, here's my minimum here, right? I want to make sure that it's inside of this boundary, okay? So I'm going to make sure my cursor is to the left of it for left bound, and then just hit enter. And then I'm going to make sure my cursor goes over here to the right side of it for right bound, hit enter, okay? And then it asks for a guess. When it asks for a guess, it wants you to get as close as you can. So like that, I think, is very, very close. That's equally close. Both of those are very close. It doesn't ask for perfection. It just says put the cursor around where you think it is, and we'll tell you we'll tell you what the answer is. So once you get your guess close, okay, so you can see these arrows are telling me, and these dotted lines are telling me where of X I want it looking for this minimum, okay? And on polynomials that can have more than one minimum, right? You need to make sure that you isolate, like, I want you to find this one. What's the value of this one, okay? And we're going to hit enter. And there it found it for us. Okay, and this worked out great because it did an error these calculators do all the time. These rounding errors are extremely common. You'll see it says 1.9999984. Okay. Anytime you're using that calc menu and you're looking for stuff, it is very liable to make this error. Okay. And this error is just a rounding error. And if you see a number like this that is really, really, really close to some other number, right? Like 1.999984 is really, really, really close to 2. The answer is 2, okay? It does this all the time, okay? It does it all the time. So the calc menu can do a lot of stuff for you. Let me go back into here. I'm going to enter a second problem. I'm going to make it a linear one. I'll do like 2x plus 2. I don't know, something simple. And I'm going to go back to the graph, and now it's going to leave that one. It's going to graph that guy right there. That's what I was hoping for, okay? This is for solving systems, right? If you need to solve a system, okay, and you're looking for an intersection, right, we're going to go back to that calc menu, second trace, okay? And we're going to look for an intersection, which is 5. And with all of these, you can either arrow down to them, or you can just hit the number that corresponds to whatever the item is. Like I can just hit 5, and now I'm looking for an intersection, right? And it's going to do first curve. What? I have no idea. I'm guessing this is still left and right bounds. I'm guessing. I've never seen them call it curves before. Maybe that's a thing with these calculators. But again, put your guess close to it. Yeah, I found it. Okay. So, and these ones are true decimal answers, right? 0.8416876 3.683. Let's say, for example, you get one of these answers and you're like, and maybe they give you fractions and you're like, I don't know how to convert that. Write down that decimal as it shows, and then go back to your main screen. Again, you can quit out of anything, all right, and put whatever that, I don't remember what it was now, but put whatever that is in there and go to math and go to your fraction, right, and hit enter and see if it can make it into a fraction. This one couldn't, okay? But if they gave you a fractional response that you needed to give, this might be a way for you to find what that fraction is, okay? You can also take any fraction, right? Like I can do 3 halves, and you can enter fractions into here too, and honestly, I don't know how to do it. I don't know. There's a way. Oh, this is it right here. Go into here, and I can actually do like 2/3, right? You can actually put fractions in. A feature I don't necessarily think there's a lot of use for. But yeah, that's that. The last thing that's helpful, this caret right here, just like on your computer, that caret represents exponential. So I can do anything above 2. If there is technically a cubed in the math menu, you can see that number 3 is the cubes. But let's say like getting to the math menu is annoying. You can just hit the caret 3, okay? See how it puts me up there, and I can hit enter, and I get my whatever. So the caret is what allows you to get up into your radicals, or up into your exponents, to do stuff in your exponents, okay? This video is 25 minutes long. I rambled from time to time. I know there's a lot. I would recommend, once you get this website going, just messing around with it, okay? Try doing some stuff. Play with it. It can do a lot of things, okay? The calculator can do a lot for you. It can be helpful. Particularly play around with the graphs. Like, make some graphs. Go into here, use this calc menu, this calculation menu, to kind of play with it and see just what it's doing, and try to make it. Just play with stuff. Make it work. Okay, just make it work. Make sure you're getting values out of it that makes sense to you. Okay, because the graph is going to be your friend. I don't want to get into Windows. I really don't want to get into that. Yeah. So, yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. Glad to help you out. If this thing isn't working for you, I'll do what I can. I mean, I am proctoring exams the day that most of you are going to be looking at this. But otherwise, this is all I have for you guys today. I just want you to go and play on this. That's it. If you're really comfortable with the calculator, congratulations. You got a free pass. Otherwise, yeah, y'all have fun. Take care. Have a good week. I'll see you guys on Thursday at the absolute latest. So, y'all stay awesome. I will talk to you soon.